everyone, welcome back to the course. In this video, in the last video, we learned how to define and invoke function. Today we are talking about to the next level by exploring the arguments, parameters, and the arguments object. This concept will make your function incredibly flexible and powerful. You will learn how to pass data into functions, working with the multiple inputs and the handle dynamic arguments. So let's dive in. First, parameter versus argument. Actually, let's clear up the terminology because people often use these terms in interchangeably, but they are technically different. Parameters are the variables listed in the function definition. They are like placeholder. Arguments are the actual values you pass to the function when you call it. Think of it this way: parameter are the name in the receive. Argument are the actual ingredients you use. So let me show you. The name is the parameter. It defines when we create the function Sarah. Actually, this Sarah is the argument. It's the actual value we pass when we call the function. Okay, that means this is our parameter, but when we are passing something, then this is the argument. Okay, that's why you are always maybe notice that I'm always saying that the argument is this argument. We are passing the argument, right? Because this is happening actually, the parameter and the arguments. Okay, so parameters make function reusable with different data. Instead of hard coding values, we can pass them like this if we want. Okay, what it means? Actually, same function, different output. This is the power of parameter. Do you see? This is exactly same function. We just invoke or call this function with the arguments, and you get the exact result what you want, right? Okay. Now multiple parameters. Actually, you can have a multiple parameters separated by comma. Okay, you can do this like that. Calculator area with width and height. This is the multiple parameter, right? See, and the order matters. Okay, the first argument goes to the first parameter, second argument to the second parameter, and so on. Okay, so check this. Introduction: name a city. That means name. If when you are passing any argument first, it's always referred to this name. This was the age, and this was city. Okay, but what happen if you don't pass any argument? So let's see. Suppose you are not passing any argument. We already have this function, right? If you are not passing any argument, then this greet function actually give you the, suppose what we have here, we have a hello, right? You see, we have a hello. This is our default text. Then we are passing the parameter. So when we are just pass this greet function, I mean call this function, it's showing hello undefined because the first parameter is not called. This parameter name becomes a undefined because we don't provide an argument. Okay, so to handle this, we can set the default parameter. Like there is a function name and the default parameter is guest. If we are not passing any argument, then it's showing the hello guest. If passing the argument, then it's showing the hello Sarah. This argument is Sarah. So it means if no argument is provided, the default value is used. This is usually helpful for optional parameters. Okay. Now next is our more default parameter example. Like think here, actually this one of the practical example with the multiple default parameter. You see, create user. There it has a 3 parameter. 2 parameter has their own default parameters value, right? And the other one is not. So this function, okay. Then when we call this create user, this username already get from the argument, and other 2 are default value. And if you are passing the both parameter with the both arguments, then you get the current result. Okay. So let's talk about something really powerful, the arguments object. Every function in JavaScript has access to a special object called arguments. The object contain all the arguments passed to the function regardless of how many parameter you define. Okay, the arguments object is array like. Okay, in the it has a indices and the length property, but it's not a true array. Remember this, we didn't pass anything, so but we just pass the arguments. When you are when you are hover over it, did you see the local variable arguments and arguments? Okay, and you can pass multiple value if you want, and you get the result like this. This was the index number and this was your value, I mean the argument. Okay, this is the index number and this is your arguments or actual value. Now accessing the argument object, you can access individual arguments using the bracket notation if you want, like this. You see arguments index number is 0 1 and this was the length. When you are passing hello, it's actually meaning, it actually this arguments mean this first console log, this means this second console log. Okay, this is useful when you don't know how many arguments we will pass. Okay, next is, and actually this is the output from this function. So next is the practical use or the argument object. Actually, let's create a function that adds all number passed to it no matter how many. This is our function sum. The total is 0 initially, then we are loop through it and then we get the total amount, right, or total value. When you console log this function with actually you call the function and given the argument, you see it's calculate the value because we are using the arguments dot length. Remember arguments dot length, and we are calculate the value argument and the index number. Okay, so the index is with index the I equal arguments dot length. Okay, and actually you see how flexible this is. We can pass any number of arguments. Okay, any number of argument with, and this is the example. So another practical example. So let's create the another function that finds the maximum value from a number of arguments. This is our find max. I mean, we are filtering the find max number from this argument. Okay, you see the max number coming from arguments index 0. So see the for loop, and then the condition is if the argument I greater than max, then this max equal will be the argument dot I, argument I. Okay, then we get the max, I mean we return this max variable, then we get the actual value, and you get how many argument you pass, it doesn't matter, it calculate all together and then give you the final output. Our argument object limitations. Important note, the arguments object is not a real array. It's array like, but it doesn't have array method like map, filter or for each. Actually, if you want to use array method, you need to convert it first. And this is the real world scenario what I'm talking right now. You see, if you want to arguments dot for each or map, it doesn't work. It's showing you the error because this argument doesn't have any map, filter or for each methods, array method. Okay. So at first you need to convert this into array. I mean array dot from. We already know this array dot from, right? What is it? Constructor, array constructor. Then from will be arguments, and it automatically convert this argument into array. Then you can for each these arguments, arguments array. Okay, and you get the output as you want. Next question is actually next topic, the mixing parameters and the argument object. You can use both name parameters and the arguments object all together if you want, like this. Greet all, and this is the parameter, and we can pass with parameter and the argument, and then you are getting the result like welcome Alice, Bob and the Charlie, and you get welcome Alice, Bob and Charlie. Okay, this welcome means this greet. This first argument goes to a greeting, but all but all arguments including the first are still in the arguments object, including this. Okay, all arguments are arguments object. Okay, great. So let's build a simple logging function that accept a log level and the multiple message. Very simple. This is the function, right? With the timestamp is new date to local time string. Then we get the local time. Then we console log timestamp and concatenation with the level dot to uppercase. Okay. Then we look through this. We check the I less than the arguments length and then console log with the arguments I. Okay. So when you are consoling this log, you get the info. This is our level first. Then others are argument. The user logged in, session start, and log dashboard. The first is the info. You get this info from this. Okay. Then user logged in. The second parameter is user logged in, session is started, and loading in dashboard. Right? Okay. Great. Also, if you see the error, get the error message like this. Otherwise, not. Okay. Because we are using two uppercase. That's why if we are passing the lowercase, it automatically give you the uppercase level. Okay, great. So let's recap what we have learned today. I mean, in this lesson, parameters are placeholder in function definition. Arguments are the actual values passed. You can have a multiple parameters and they are matched by position. Default parameter provide the fallback value when arguments aren't provided. The arguments object contains all arguments passed to a function. Okay, you can access the arguments by indexing the arguments bracket 0, I mean 0 index number 1, 2, 3, etc. And the arguments dot length property tell you how many arguments were passed. Okay, this argument dot length. The argument objects is array like but not a true array. Okay, we already cover up here, right? This is not array. It's look like a array, but it's not the actual array, not true array. The argument object is useful for function that accept a variable numbers of input. Okay. So in the next video, we will explore the return values and functions expression, how to get data back from functions and different way to define them. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Drop any questions in the comments below. I will see you in the next one.